Hi, we are members of the CATS program, and today we'll be interviewing Mr. Daniel Bennett, Director of Coalitions and Strategic Initiatives of the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation.
You are watching A Lifetime of Influence, presented by the Alliance for Healthy Youth and the members of CATS, concerned about teen success.
Hi, Mr. Bennett. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How's everybody today?
Good.
Great.
So, Mr. Bennett, where do you work and why did you choose your profession?
I work at the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation. It's actually a new role for me. I've only been there for about a month, but I've been working in suicide prevention for the last 12 years. And like a lot of people that work in prevention, I kind of stumbled into it. I didn't even know it was a career field until I started working there. And it was just like a lot of things in life, I was in the right place at the right time.
Wonderful. So, when did you choose your profession?
So I started out in education. I knew pretty early on that I wanted to do some sort of work that was beneficial or helping people in the community. I happened to graduate college at a time where there weren't a ton of teaching jobs available. And so somebody I knew who worked in a prevention agency said, this might be a good fit for you. You'll get to use some of the same skill sets, but you could have a job right away and be working in it. So um, kind of how I got there. And that was, like I said, about 12 years ago.
Okay, wonderful. So, I know you mentioned college, but what type of education and degree did you need for your position?
Prevention's great in the fact that you can start off with it just with like a high school diploma. There are levels of prevention you can do all the way up through. You could have a master's degree, or you could have an associate's degree at some levels of prevention, or a bachelor's. It's really set up where anybody can get engaged in the field.
Okay. So, what type of talents or gifts help you in your profession?
I think being able to talk to people is a big one. Being comfortable a lot in what I do is either leading meetings or doing presentations. So being comfortable in front of an audience is a big piece of that. If you are passionate about seeing other people do well, or you want to see other people succeed or live healthy lives, that can certainly be helpful because a lot of prevention is trying to make sure that people can have the best outcomes in life. But again, there's a lot of different pieces to it that you could work on. Like some of the things they do around coalition, people could work in coalition work, and if they're willing to come to the table with any skill set, they can help out because it's really a collaborative project. Some other things, public speaking is really good. Being comfortable with uncomfortable topics is a huge one because it's usually things like drug or alcohol use, dating violence, suicide, mental health are the topics that we're often working with.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, in what ways do you work hard in your profession?
uh, at least in my perspective, prevention can be draining emotionally and mentally sometimes because we take on a lot of fatigue uh, emotionally of the people that are experiencing maybe hardships. Like I said, I talk about suicide on a daily basis every single day, and that's not something that everybody feels comfortable doing. And so you can certainly feel down there emotionally. Sometimes it can make it a hard job to do. It's not physically demanding work, but it can be mentally and emotionally demanding work.
All right, thank you. And do you ever work more hours than your job requires? And if so, what kind of situations does that entail?
I don't tend to work more hours than my job calls for, but it's also I don't work a 9 to 5 regular schedule. So many people who work in prevention have some flexibility where like you might have evening events or a weekend event, things like that. So you can usually like sub out some of your normal workday hours. If you're working at a prevention field where you're maybe answering hotline calls or things like that, you may be available at odd hours, or maybe even you might work at an agency that's 24 hours a day, but usually you've got the flexibility to kind of supplement your hours so you're not forced to go over that 40 or whatever your job requirements are.
All right, amazing. Now, so what gives you the motivation to work hard during your job? Like, what is your drive?
I think for me, especially as I've been in the field as long as I have, you get to see a lot of people that really benefit from the work that you do. And the more that you're engaged with the community, you see where people are struggling, and you see how little things like getting resources connected to people or a food drive or those kind of things could make all the difference from a family that's struggling. On a personal perspective, a lot of people get into prevention because they've had a relative or a friend or a family member they've lost to um, drug or alcohol use or depression or suicide, those kind of things. I really haven't had that kind of connection to the field, but I do um, see more and more, especially with my own family. Like I think about my daughter and my son and what it would feel like to see them struggling with maybe mental health concerns or drug or alcohol addiction. So you really want to be able to help families so they don't have to go through that trauma.
Right. So, with especially with the line of work you're in, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Um, that's always a hard question. Kind of advice would you give to your younger self? I think for the field that I've gone into, I think being collaborative earlier in my career would have been beneficial. It's gotten a lot better, but in a lot of ways, there used to be a ton of competition, especially with mental health agencies, and it was a lot of we. There's only so much work and clients to go around and things like that. Unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. We've seen rates for mental health concerns and drug and alcohol use go up, and more people need help. And now there's not enough clinicians and prevention staff out there to serve everybody who needs it. And I think we could have been developing, when I could have been developing those collaborative relationships very early on, and it would have benefited the community, and maybe even set us all up to be in a better place now with a lot of the trauma and concerns we have.
So, what would we need to do to have and keep a job like yours?
Uh, the first thing I recommend if you were interested in this work is know what your self care is, know what you're going to do to balance out some of that fatigue that we talk about when we take on other people's trauma all the time. Go into it with that mindset ahead of time. Practice public speaking, which the only way to get better at it is to practice it. It's really the only way you're going to ever get good at it. So put yourself in that environment, speak in front of a group or an audience as much as possible. And then if there's a specific topic that you're interested in, suicide prevention, drug or alcohol prevention, those kind of things, start reading up and researching on those. And you could do this at any time. You don't have to be interested in the career field. You don't even have to be out of high school. You could jump onto a coalition or work group and volunteer some of your time there. And that'll give you a good feel for what prevention does, even before you'd be interested in a career in it.
So, you've given us some great advice so far, but do you have any other advice that might help us in our personal and professional lives?
Um, I mean, just personally, like I said, find the things that you enjoy doing and make sure you take time for yourself to do those things. That's a big piece of it. Professionally, I always recommend people, even if it doesn't seem like, if you get an opportunity for a training or you get an opportunity to learn a program, even if it doesn't seem like something you're going to do on a regular basis, take it, because you never know in this line of work when an agency closes or they pick up a new program or you switch jobs. That might be the difference between getting a job if you've already got that skill set or you've already been trained on something. So, anytime someone's willing to teach you something, especially if it's free, take them up on that.
Great. Thank you for letting us interview you. You gave some really great advice and we learned a lot. So, we appreciate you coming today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching A Lifetime of Influence. A Lifetime of Influence is funded by the County of Summit ADM Board.